Yo, mic checker, microphone record. Des, King of the Pit TV. Yo, I'm trying something a little different, alright? I'm gonna learn about a couple of things. I want you to join me on my journey, yeah? You know who it is. You know what it is. It's King of the Pit TV. We're gonna learn about metal. Class is in session, people. We're gonna learn about metal. We're gonna learn about heavy metal music. We're gonna see what we can find. We can explore and live and learn together, right? So, I got the Wikipedia up. I know Wikipedia can be tampered with and this and that. Do you think I care? Correct me if I'm wrong, people. You're the professionals here. So, let's get into this, yeah? Let me just have a little dig. So, this article is about the genre. For its subgenre, see heavy metal genres. Bruh, we're going to be looking at all of the genres, yeah? We're going to be living and learning. Apparently there was a Newsted album. Who's Newsted? He was in Metallica, wasn't he? See, heavy metal music album. Let's start off with that. What's this? Oh, it was a band, Newsted. I've never heard of that band. They must not be much good because I've never heard of that band. Forever usage, see, heavy metal, disambiguation. Alright, who cares? So heavy metal or simply metal, right? You know what? When I talk about metal, I don't really apply it to meaning heavy metal. But there we go. It's a genre of rock music that developed in the late 60s and early 70s, largely in the UK and the United States. It's got roots in blues rock, psychedelic rock, and acid rock. What the hell is acid rock? So it's a loosely defined type of rock music that evolved out of mid-60s garage punk movement and helped launch the psychedelic subculture. Named after lysergic acid, or LSD basically, the style is generally defined by heavy distorted guitar lyrics with drug references. Is that not just psychedelic rock? What are we talking about here, people? And why is this a root of heavy metal? People, do you believe that? Do you believe that heavy metal derives from acid rock and psychedelic rock? You tell me. Then again, the Beatles with their song, what is it? Manson was credited for that one, or did a cover, or something along the lines of that. Helter Skelter. Yeah? Helter Skelter was like quite heavy metal, am I wrong? Heavy metal bands developed a thick, monumental sound characterized by distorted guitars, extended guitar solos, empathic beats, and loudness. Now, what qualifies as loudness? It's the subjective perception of sound pressure. More formally, it is defined as the attribute of auditory sensation in terms of which sound can be ordered on a scale extending from quiet to loud. Alright? Bruh, who cares? Who cares? We're here for the good stuff, aren't we? I've got in the information at the side here, subgenres: avant-garde metal, extreme metal, which in brackets says black metal, death metal, doom metal, speed metal, thrash metal, glam metal, groove metal, power metal, symphonic metal, and then we have a complete list which we will go into from there. Who classifies it as extreme metal? Because in the brackets, black metal, death metal, doom metal, speed metal, and thrash metal. Speed metal for one, and then outside of extreme, we got power metal. We can mix and match the two, right? Groove metal could be just as extreme as doom metal. Let's be real. So, you know, I've got my own quantification of extreme metal. I have my own ceiling to break through when I personally classify it as extreme, and given my understanding of metal, because I got mates who play in death metal bands, right, and they consider themselves extreme metal acts. But for me, given the range of metal music I've listened to, bro, if you haven't got toilet gurgle vocals, you know what I mean? It's tough. It's tough. But I guess to your general listener, death metal is extreme. Don't get me wrong. In '68, three of the genre's most famous pioneers, Zeppelin, Sabbath, and Deep Purple. I've never listened to Deep Purple properly, people. That's something we're going to need to go on a journey through. Were founded. I kind of agree with Zeppelin. Zeppelin had some riffs, man. And obviously, you can't really deny Sabbath, can you? Though they came to attract wider audiences, they were often derided by critics. Several American bands modified heavy metal into more accessible forms during the 70s. The raw, sleazy sound and shock rock of Alice Cooper and Kiss, the blues-rooted rock of Aerosmith, and the flashy guitar leads and party rock of Van Halen. You know what? From what I've heard of Van Halen so far, I could call Van Halen a metal band, honestly. Um, During the mid-70s, Judas Priest helped spur the genre's evolution by discarding much of its blues influence, while Motorhead introduced the punk rock sensibility and an increasing emphasis on speed. Now, I've only listened to the debut by Motorhead as of so far. Honestly, I didn't think so much of it that I wanted to continue on the discography, which I am going to do. But from what I've heard, Motorhead introduced or emphasised this D-beat rock and roll element into the music, which I've not necessarily come across through their debut record so far. But I'm looking forward to that. I really am looking forward to that element of it. I've just not come across it yet. Bands in the new wave of British heavy metal. We actually had a wave over here not so long back, the new wave of British hardcore music. Which was interesting. A select group of individuals came together and brought some cool bands about and coined it that. Don't think it had the impact of the new wave of British heavy metal, but hey, who knows what history holds? You never know. Might be noted, right? Such as Iron Maiden and Saxon. Bro, Saxon were really enjoyable when I listened to them. Of course, Maiden are Maiden, undeniable. I think Maiden are the heavy metal band, potentially. Followed in a similar vein. By the end of the decade, heavy metal fans became known as metalheads. So when was this? By the end of the 70s. Bruh, how much information we got on metalheads? Oh, fuck yes! We've got a whole Wikipedia article fleshed out on metalheads, so we'll have a look at that one, right? Or headbangers, does that still count? No, we've got a page on headbanging. Parrots? At least one parrot, a cockatoo named Snowball, developed a habit of headbanging to music, causing something of an internet sensation. Scientists were intrigued as untrained dancing among animals is rare. Yes. During the 80s, glam metal became popular with groups such as Bon Jovi, Motley Crue and Poison. And now this is debatable, yeah? Because I've spoken about this quite fondly with metalheads in the past and I've come across a lot of disagreement. Glam metal or glam rock has the best metal riffs I've ever come across. Glam rock have better riffs than the thrashers, than the doom metalers, than the death metalers. Mate, some of them glam riffs are fucking pristine. Absolutely spectacular. Motley Crue, Poison, Bon Jovi, say no more. Meanwhile, however, underground scenes produced an array of more aggressive styles. Thrash metal broke into the mainstream with bands such as Metallica, Slayer, Megadeth and Anthrax, while other extreme subgenres such as death metal and black metal and remain subcultural phenomena. Since the mid-90s, popular styles... Sorry, I've completely lost... Since the mid-90s, popular styles have expanded the definition of the genre. These include groove metal and nu metal, the latter of which incorporates elements of grunge and hip-hop. You know what? I never approached nu metal with the lens of the lens of grunge, should I say. So that's quite interesting. At the side now, we've got fusion genres, alternate metal, which could be funk metal, rap metal, nu metal, deathcore, drone metal. I've never got into drone metal. And anything that has drone in the title, bro, come on. I can't be arsed with that stuff. Anything that has drone in it is just like, by default, boring. Folk metal. In regards to folk metal, really the only thing I'm aware of that I've listened to is Fintroll. I had one tune which was in a foreign language, so I can't tell you the title of it. It It was quite a good tune. Quite a good tune. It was one of their hit songs back in the day. Back in the day. Gothic metal, grindcore, grunge, post-metal, industrial metal, metalcore, neoclassical metal. That's something I think I should check out. Neoclassical metal. I think I've got an understanding within some reason. I listened to a band called Symphony X back in the day, and I think that was classified as neoclassical. Progressive metal brackets gent. Here, gent fans are a different breed, mate. Gent fans are metalheads are nerds, but gent fans are super nerds. Sludge metal, stoner rock, Viking metal. Interesting, we've got something here called local scenes and Birmingham. Birmingham. We'll check that out. Birmingham's music scene. Birmingham's not too far from me. Florida death metal. San Francisco Bay Area. San Francisco was known for its thrash metal, right? Palm Desert scene. What's that? Desert rock. No idea about that. We got New Orleans, which is reference for jazz when I highlighted there. Gothenburg. Melodic death metal from Gothenburg. Very interesting here. I'm picking up a few things here. Bro, we've got a bloody article here. Look at how long. We've got a history of heavy metal. So I'm going to break this video up. Don't get me wrong, alright? I'm going to, whether you like it or not, I'm going to do a few of these walkthroughs, learning about music and all of this. But the reaction videos are going to remain, alright? Characteristics. Heavy metal is traditionally characterized by loud, distorted guitars, empathic rhythms, dense bass and drum sounds, and vigorous vocals. Heavy metal subgenres variously emphasize, alter, or omit one of these attributes. In a 1988 article, the New York Times critic John Parells wrote, "In the taxonomy of popular music, heavy metal is a major subspecies of hard rock. The breed with less syncopation, less blues, more showmanship, and more brute force." How interesting is that? More showmanship. The typical band lineup includes a drummer, a bassist, a rhythm guitarist, a lead guitarist, and a singer, who may or may not be an instrumentalist. Keyboard instruments are sometimes used to enhance the fullness of the sound. Right, I want to open discussion with you on that. Do you prefer metal with or without a keyboard or a synth player? Let me know, because it's very, very hard, in my opinion, to pull off synthesizers and keyboards in metal music. It's very hard to do so. I think it loses a primitive value, which I'm very interested in. Deep Purple's John Lord played an overdriven Hammond organ. In 1970, John Paul Jones, a man like JPJ, used a Moog synthesizer on Zeppelin 3. By the 90s, synthesizers were used in almost every subgenre of heavy metal. The electric guitar and the sonic power that it projects through amplification has historically been the key element in heavy metal. True, yeah. The heavy metal guitar sound. Can you imagine metal without a distorted guitar? Without an electric guitar? The heavy metal sound comes from a combined use of high volumes and heavy fuzz. For classic heavy metal guitar tone, guitarists maintain gain at moderate levels without excessive preamp or pedal distortion. To retain open spaces and air in the music, the guitar amp is turned up loud. So for the audio people, I'm not bored at metal, I'm just a story of my life, I'm tired every day. For classic heavy metal guitar tone, blah. Thrash metal guitar tone has scooped mid-frequencies. All guitarists know that, yeah? When you first get into guitars, you're just like, oh, I want to play thrash metal, and everyone's like, scoop the mids, bro. Put the mids at 3. And then when you apply that to an actual band, it's just not the right way to do it. Get your Line 6 Spider amp. Scoop the mids, bro. Riff central. Most heavy metal songs feature at least one guitar solo, which is what we've found on this channel, for the big bands at least. But I think it's not good. I personally don't think it's good. I don't want to hear a guitar solo every Bliss song. It bores me to death. Guitar solos are an essential element of the heavy metal code that underscores the significance of the guitar to the genre. So we're really emphasizing and implying that metal music revolves around the guitar. as opposed to the songwriting, as opposed to the vocalist, as opposed to the drummer and the, emphasis on reckless drumming and the image and the sound as a whole. It's the electric guitar, this Wikipedia article is trying to tell us. What do you think to that? Because I think it's a good argument to make. With rhythm guitar parts that the heavy crunch sound in heavy metal is created by palm muting, yeah? Palm muting. When I first picked up the guitar, I thought my amp was broken. I was young. I thought my guitar amp was broken because it was always like blurred up. I didn't know how to palm mute. And yeah, I felt like taking my amp back to the shop, and that was a Line 6 amp. The strings with the picking hand and blah blah blah. Palm muting creates a tighter, more precise sound and emphasizing the low end. Yeah, imagine heavy music without palm muting. The lead role of the guitar in heavy metal often collides with the traditional frontman or band leader role of the vocalist, creating a musical tension as the two contend for dominance in a spirit of affectionate rivalry. That is beautiful. That is beautiful. That is so true. That is so true. People, I'm a lead guitarist, yeah? I riff. But I'm a lead guitarist at heart. I'm a blues player at heart when it comes to lead guitars. And I've been in bands, yeah? And I've written the songs. And in my head, I've got the creative control of the band. I am the lead guitarist. I am the powerhouse of the band. In music law, that's not the case. The frontman, the person who writes the lyric, is the songwriter. Guitarists come out of bands and think they can copyright the music. For the most part, that's not the case, even though you've written the riffs. Nope. Have you written the lyrics? There we go. Heavy metal demands the subordination of the voice to the overall sound of the band, reflecting metal's roots in 60s counterculture. An explicit display of emotion is required from the vocals as a sign of authenticity. Critic Simon Frith claims that the metal singer's tone of voice is more important than the lyrics. Within reason. If you want a hit song, you still need good songwriting, you still need good hooks, you still need to create an emotional hook, alright? Obviously, an explicit display of emotion has been mentioned, is a sign of authenticity, but I don't think, I disagree that the tone of voice is more important than the lyrics. I completely disagree. The prominent role of the bass is also key to the metal sound. Let's be real, it's the least important. Bassists get a bad rep, and I think in metal music, yeah, I think you bassists out there, you are in a bad position when you're in a metal band. I think most people don't give a flying crap about you, honestly. And the interplay of bass and guitar is a certain. I mean, bass players serve a way larger purpose in punk rock music than they do metal music. And that's still, you know what I mean, incredibly limited. People want to hear other things. And I'm trying to screw my head on in the perspective of the consumer, as opposed to like a musician, because musically I understand you bassists have your own frequency. I mean, you are more important than the guitarist in a way, because that guitarist shares the same frequency with the singer, if not the keyboardist, if not half of the drum kit as well. So for this big block where the guitar exists and has to share spaces with, you've got your own frequency, you just share it with the kick drum, and dependent on how low the guitar is tuned, if not, well, you know, I digress, alright? Let's keep moving. The prominent role of the bass. Yep. The bass plays a more important role in heavy metal than any other genre of rock. Okay? I suppose if we look at heavy metal as a big umbrella term, we can, it takes ages to look into that. Metal bass lines vary widely in complexity, from holding down a low pedal point as a foundation to doubling complex riffs and licks, along with the lead or rhythm guitars. Some bands feature the bass as a lead instrument, an approach popularised by Metallica's Cliff Burton, with his heavy emphasis on bass solos and use of chords while playing the bass in the early 80s. Lemmy of Motorhead often played overdriven power chords in his bass lines. I mean, Lemmy really was a bold bass guitarist, right? I mean, I don't know much about Motorhead, but I think of Lemmy riffing away on that bass whilst he's performing. As with Cliff Burton, Cliff Burton, I'm gonna be tight and say Cliff Burton's a bit overrated. We had we're going through the Metallica discography on this channel, and we obviously started with Kill 'Em All. And back in the day, I approached Cliff Burton's guitar solo on that his bass guitar solo on that record is something okay. In hindsight, it's just so egocentric and pointless. I think it ruins the record. In essence, and I'm not being disrespectful, you know what I mean? He established the best metal band, the most popular metal band in the world, so you know what I mean? There's no disrespect there. The essence of heavy metal drumming is creating a loud, constant beat for the band using the trifecta of speed, power, and precision. Nice. Heavy metal drumming requires an exceptional amount of endurance, and drummers have to develop considerable speed, coordination, and dexterity to play the intricate patterns used in heavy metal. A characteristic metal drumming technique is the cymbal choke. Come on now. Which consists... I mean, when that cymbal choke is utilised well on stabs with the guitar and so forth, it can sound incredible. It's the tightness. As long as it's tight, doesn't get much better than that, does it? Which consists of striking a cymbal and then immediately silencing it by grabbing it with the other hand, or in some cases, the same striking hand. I don't know how drummers can do that. Producing a burst of sound. The metal drum setup is generally much larger than those employed in other forms of rock music. Black metal, death metal, and some mainstream metal bands all depend upon double kicks and blast beats. I've got something for you people. I think double kick is overrated. I think double bass drum is overrated. I don't think it adds too much. To be honest with you, I'm not a drummer, so I can't go into depth, but yeah, I don't really care for double kick music, especially when it's triggered. Nah. In live performance, loudness, an onslaught of sound, in sociologist Dino Weinstein's description, is considered vital. In his book, I thought it was a woman. In his book, Metalheads, psychologist Jeffrey Emmett refers to heavy metal concerts as the sensory equivalent of war. Following the lead set by Jimi Hendrix, Cream, and The Who, early heavy metal acts such as Blue Cheer set new benchmarks for volume. Who are Blue Cheer? Blue Cheer was an American rock band that initially performed and recorded in the late 60s and early 70s and was sporadically active until 2009. Played in a psychedelic blues rock or acid rock style. Don't sell it to me, I don't care. As Blue Cheer's Dick Peterson put it, all we knew was we wanted more power. A 1977 review of a Motorhead concert noted how excessive volume in particular figured into the band's impact. People, you know what I mean? I've spoken about this only the other day. I forgot where I sort of started commenting on it, but I don't want loudness, man. I do not want loudness. I don't want to leave a show. Like, it's bad enough leaving with your ears ringing momentarily. I don't want that. I don't want to have tinnitus for the rest of my life. People kill themselves over that. You know what I mean? It's loudness is nothing to be impressed by. I absolutely hate it when bands hype themselves over loudness. Oh, it's a loud experience, blah, blah. It doesn't improve a single thing. It's not good. It's not a good thing. And I like to be up front during events. I go to a lot of local events, right? Whether they be, larger scale, like the crowd varies because I like local bands and I like lower key, relatively underground bands where there's no, where it's like £5 in, £10 at max, 12 quid, no barrier. You can be up front, buy the bloody monitors, and when you spend time up there, it's alright, you're having a drink, you don't really care. By the time you start going home and you hear that ringing in your ears, especially when you've had a few to drink, it is hell on earth. I hate it, I cannot stand it, so yeah, I don't rate loudness whatsoever, like literal loudness. In 97, Weinstein makes the case that in the same way that melody is the main element of pop and rhythm is the main focus of house music, powerful sound, timbre and volume are the key elements of metal. But you could argue loudness is a key element of pop music and house music, you know what I mean? They all blast it way too loud at times. When you go to live events at least. The house music in particular, you know what I mean? Dance music, loud as fuck. If anything, the bass, when it comes to like proper sound systems and live events and so forth, man, the bass is actually frightening at times. She argues that the loudness is designed to sweep the listener into the sound and to provide a shot of youthful vitality. Heavy metal performers tended to be almost exclusively male. Yep. I mean, we could look into why that is. We could definitely have a discussion as to why that is. Until at least the mid-80s, with some exceptions, such as Girl School. I've never heard of Girl School. Girl School is a British rock band that formed in the new wave of British heavy metal scene in '78, frequently associated with Motorhead. They're the longest-running all-female rock band, still active after more than 40 years. Now, my question to you is, have I not come across this band because it's all-female? Have I never heard about that band because it's all-female? Because I've never heard of Girl School. I've never heard anyone talk about Girl School. And I know for a fact, yeah, this is the reality of it. This doesn't include me because personally, I like female-fronted punk bands, hardcore bands, because I think that higher register vocal, that shriek is just incredible. I love to hear that in bands. Yeah, we've got quite a good few local bands. And I think hardcore in particular, there is more emphasis on getting female involved. There's more openness in starting a girl band and so forth, because it comes with the politics of the scene. But there still is a bias, even when it's supposed to be accepted. There is still a heavy bias. I know so many people, right? So many fellas, so many men who won't listen or will shun a band purely down to the fact that it's fronted by a woman. That's the harsh reality of it. I think some of it is down to the fact that they can't relate, and it's nice when you are in the crowd, and obviously as we're looking at, as it states, performers tend to be exclusively male, such as the crowd, right? Dependent on the band, you know what I mean? But when you're in the crowd, it's nice to project yourself onto the awesomeness, the epicness of this band. Even me as a musician who's been there on the stage, I like to look and think, wow, I can't wait to get on stage next. Wow, look at this energy. I'm projecting myself in that band right now. This is cool. And I feel it's the same way in regards to the outlet of a crowd member. So if the crowd's full of men and the front woman is up there, it's harder to connect. It's harder for that emotional connection. But that's just a theory, right? Of course, there's a lot of, we call it what it is. There's a lot of misogyny when it comes to this music game. There's a lot of it. However, by the 2010s, women were making more of an impact. And Pop Matters' Craig Hayes argues that metal clearly empowers women. In the power metal and symphonic metal subgenres, there has been a sizable number of bands that have had women as the lead singers, such as Nightwish, Delane, and Within Temptation. Okay, cool. So we're opening conversation in regards to power metal and symphonic metal. Nightwish, when I've been doing these Nightwish reaction videos, they're fronted by a singer who is incredible, called Flo Jansen, is it? I might have got that surname wrong, but she's called Flo. I have never seen such a strong fan base following not only the band, but an individual in the band. Real incredible cult-like following when it comes to that. So, yeah, I got to rate that. Anyway, we've had a look into this. I don't know if you're going to be too bothered in regards to the theoretical side of things, the music theory. If you are, let me know down in the comments and I'll delve into that. But I'm sure the majority of people who watch these videos are going to be too fussed about that. Alright, we will look at lyrical themes because that's going to be quite cool. And we'll continue on with this. So I'm signing out, people. One love. Till next time.